The laughter in the hall froze. Every eye swung toward him, my father, who stood at the center of the living room, holding the microphone, his face calm, almost casual. I could feel the silence pressing against my chest, suffocating. It seemed like the world had stopped moving. "What did he just say?" someone whispered behind me. I didn't even recognize the voice. I was too focused on him, on the words that had ripped through the festive air like glass shattering. The room had been alive just moments ago. My mother's 60th birthday party was in full swing. Everyone was smiling, dancing between memories and music. We, her children, had been taking turns at the microphone. The MC, our cousin Linda, had suggested that each of us share one thing our mother had done that made us happy, and one thing that had made us sad or angry. It had started lightheartedly. Stories of school projects she had supported, birthday cakes she had baked, and the quiet sacrifices she had made. It was fun, and laughter filled the hall. And then it was Dad's turn. He had politely declined at first, shaking his head. "I don't think I should. Let's move on." But we wouldn't let him off the hook. We had insisted, teased, pressed. "Come on, Dad. Everyone's sharing. You have to." He smiled faintly, and for a brief second the room held its breath, waiting for a sweet memory. "What my wife did that made me happiest," he said, his voice warm and steady, "was the way she cared for us, our family, all these years." Applause, laughter, relief, everyone relaxed. Then he paused, and the next words cut through the room like a knife. "What made me saddest was when she cheated on me with the Gateman." Silence slammed into us like a wall. I could feel it in my chest. The sound of the words echoed off the walls, bouncing back to us in disbelief. I felt my stomach drop. I didn't know whether to scream, cry, or collapse. My mother froze mid-step, her hand gripping the tablecloth as if it could hold her together. Her emerald green dress shimmered under the chandelier, but it seemed to do nothing to protect her from the humiliation. I could see the color drain from her face, leaving only a ghostly pallor. Shock rippled through the guests. Some gasped, others muttered, and most of them just stared. My younger brother, wide-eyed, whispered, "No, it can't be." And then she bolted. My mother, the woman who had always been the center of every celebration, stormed out of her own birthday party, tears streaming down her face. She didn't say a word. She didn't look back. She disappeared into the darkness of her bedroom, and that was the last time anyone had seen her since. "Dad, what are you saying?" I whispered, but my voice barely carried as I walked towards my dad. My father, for the first time, looked uncomfortable. His confident posture faltered. He ran a hand through his hair, his eyes flicking toward the empty doorway. I didn't mean for it to go like this," he muttered. The party died instantly. The music stopped. The MC fumbled, unsure what to do. Chairs scraped across the floor. We tried to comfort my father, asking him to explain, but even he seemed shaken, almost regretful. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. I felt the room tilt, my legs weak beneath me. The smell of birthday cake mixed with the metallic tang of betrayal in the air. Why would he say that here, on her birthday?" my sister whispered, her voice trembling. I had no answer. And worse, my mother had vanished, retreating into herself. Her door was locked, her presence reduced to a muffled sob we could hear faintly behind the walls. She refused to come out. She refused to speak. As I sat there, staring at the door she had locked behind her, memories flooded back. My mother, strong, warm, loving, but also secretive, had always been the life of our home. I remembered childhood birthdays, afternoons in the garden, the way she tucked me into bed and whispered, "You are my everything." And yet, there had always been tension between her and Dad. Arguments whispered behind closed doors, sighs in the kitchen late at night, moments when I saw Dad's disappointment flicker in his eyes. I had never known the reason until now. I remembered the gateman, the quiet man who tended the property, always polite, always in the background. We had all thought of him as part of the extended household staff, harmless and invisible. But apparently, he had been part of a secret my father had carried for decades. All of it led to this moment, the shattering of a facade we had all believed for decades. The days after the party were unbearable. My mother refused to emerge from her room. She wouldn't answer calls, wouldn't eat with us, and refused to acknowledge our presence. She had barricaded herself in her bedroom, and the house felt empty despite the ongoing chaos. Guests who had attended the party checked in, some politely, some with wide eyes. Everyone whispered, "Is she okay? Are you okay?" But no one had answers. The words lingered like smoke in the air. It felt like the world had shifted, tilted, and we were all trying to find balance on the edge of a cliff. My father tried to reach her. Tentative knocks at the door, quiet voices, small apologies. "I didn't mean to. I only wanted honesty," he said softly one afternoon, voice tight with regret. Honesty. The word felt bitter in my mouth. After everything, was this really honesty or just revenge disguised as truth? I wanted to scream at him. "You didn't just speak honestly, you destroyed her." But I didn't, because even in my anger, I could see the torment in his eyes, the regret flickering like a candle in the dark. A single confession had changed everything. A single word, the truth, had splintered decades of life shared under one roof. And even though the truth was necessary, even though it exposed reality, it left a family in pieces, trembling in its aftermath.
Sometimes I wonder if Dad had been waiting for that exact moment to speak, not because the family needed to know, but because he needed to release the weight he had been carrying for so long. Maybe he thought the truth was a gift. Maybe he believed honesty could heal. But what he gave us that night wasn't healing. It was fire. It burned through trust. It burned through love. And when the flames settled, all that remained was ash. Weeks have passed, but the silence in this house is deafening. The laughter that once poured from the kitchen, the warmth that made these walls a home, all of it has been replaced by whispers and heavy footsteps. We walk on eggshells, careful not to disturb the ghosts of that night. Every conversation is measured, every glance cautious. Mom still hasn't stepped out of her room. Her absence is a wound we can't cover, a shadow we can't shake. I stand outside her door sometimes, my hand hovering over the wood, wanting to knock, wanting to tell her that she's still my mother, that I still love her, that one mistake doesn't erase everything she's been to us. But I never do. The words feel too small against the silence she's wrapped herself in. Sometimes, late at night, I imagine her opening the door again. I imagine her stepping back into the world, fragile but whole, ready to reclaim her life. But those nights are rare. Mostly I hear the faint sobs behind the locked door, a reminder of how fragile life, love, and family truly are. Dad moves like a stranger through these halls, avoiding her door, avoiding our eyes. I can see the regret in the lines on his face, the weight of his words pressing down on him every day. But the damage is done. You can't unspeak a truth once it's been set free. I feel caught in the middle, powerless to fix what had been broken in a single devastating moment. I keep replaying the party in my head, the music, the laughter, the joyful faces, And then the moment of revelation, the split-second shift when joy turned to horror. It's a moment none of us can forget, and none of us will ever fully recover from. I've come to realize something. Families aren't destroyed by secrets alone. They're destroyed by the moment those secrets are revealed, by the way they tear through bonds we thought were unbreakable. On the night of her 60th birthday, my father chose to speak. My mother chose to run. And we, her children, were left to pick up the pieces of a truth we never asked for. I don't know when she will come out of that room. I don't know if he will ever forgive himself. I don't know if we as a family will ever laugh the same way again. But I do know this. Birthdays are supposed to be beginnings, celebrations of life and legacy. Instead, hers became an ending. And that's the legacy of that night. Not candles blown out, but a family's flame snuffed out by the weight of the truth. And maybe, just maybe, that's the cruelest truth of all. If you were in my father's shoes, would you have revealed the truth that night or carried it silently to your grave?